If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is November the 17th, 2021, and today the topic is expansion without obedience. Whew, y'all. Yesterday was quite a day, man. I ended up doing more than I expected. Those of you all that, follow me on social media and everything like that, y'all know Actress Miracle Sims, all kinds of information out there. Well, you know that I went live with Accountability yesterday with Mr. Leo of Anointed Touch Health, Fitness, and Beauty. Went live with him and gave you all the updates on my fitness journey. He gave you guys my new routine and everything like that. And so, yeah, I should be kicking those things off today. If you watched yesterday, I apologize for the technical difficulties that apparently was happening both in our live of the juice as well as our live of accountability. So, my apologies. I don't know what's going on with that. However, we hope and pray that these things are better today. And, all we can do is move forward. I think we made the best of, all the little issues that was going on yesterday. But you also saw that we had a special guest again yesterday during accountability, and that was my son, NJ. He popped in. And it turned out to be Mr. Leo's birthday. So, again, we gave him a happy birthday yesterday, but just saying again, happy birthday to him. His website's right there if you guys want to check it out, anointedtouch-hfb.com. I gave you guys a sneak peek at an idea that I have to hopefully sponsor someone one day for his services to, experience 30 days the way I did with him. So, I'm hoping and praying that I'll be able to do that soon. So if that's something you're interested in, throw some likes, subscribe to the channel, everything like that to stay informed and stay tuned on that opportunity. But yeah, so I completed that task yesterday. I also completed the task of working with my virtual acting student, which I'm super proud of him. He's doing a good job still and whatnot. And so it makes it a lot easier to kind of work with somebody when they are just as committed to the thing. It's not like I have to pull that out of him or anything like that. He comes ready and you can see that in his performance. So it was great working with him yesterday. And lo and behold, I remembered, but I didn't remember to tell you all. So basically, if follow me on social media and whatnot, then you know that I was featured last night on Pearls of a Great Price Empowerment Services. Once again, Miss Giselle of the Pearls Wisdom podcast, she had me on her platform. But I was under a series that is called Ladies in Waiting, Purpose in My Pen series. So I was featured this time as an author and shared about my book, The Cultivation Period, A Single Christian's Journey, and everything about that. So if you guys did not get a chance to see it, then if you follow me on social media on anywhere, then you should be able to see it there. You can also see it on their Facebook page. I'm going to put that back up again. Pearls of a Great Price Empowerment Services on Facebook. Or I also uploaded those interviews into my interview section of Actress Miracle Sims on YouTube as well. So there's plenty of opportunities for you all to see my feature yesterday. It was awesome. It's always great talking to her. It really is. Like I said, I just love listening to her, so that's one thing. But yeah, just something very just empowering about her voice, and she was very receptive of the book and the information that I was sharing, and I even got a chance to share a little bit of it. I read the poem, "The Black Woman's Prince Charming," that is featured in the book, as well as a little bit of the prologue. So, I hope that you all, enjoy it, and I hope that you guys check out the book. It is available on Amazon. And yeah, man, I got a little taste of Arthur interview ish stuff. um, yeah, I mean, I think that was my first interview specifically as an author, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I think there's others that I've, you know, shared the information about stuff on, but I was like talking about GSL and talking about everything, in general. But I think that was my first author feature in particular, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I enjoyed talking to her, and I hope that you guys enjoyed that episode as well. So yeah, by the time I did all of that, y'all, I mean, in between those times, momming and everything like that, I did work out a little something with Bros Bites for this week. So thank and praise God for that, being able to do that. Because I mean, to be honest with y'all, like, okay, so here's what happened. Like, I was getting ready to get groceries, whatnot, and well, we tend to order groceries now. So, which is a blessing. It's a convenience, and it's a blessing, especially as a mom and everything like that. And so, but the thing was, I was getting ready to order groceries, and then lo and behold, it was like trying to add on fees. You know how sometimes you go, like, okay, for example, if you go to the gas station, sometimes they'll overcharge you, I guess, to compensate, and then they'll eventually adjust it to whatever their, real amount is. Well, they were trying to do that, and it just goes beyond whatever I had, and so I was like, it just makes more sense for me to just reach out to my boy, Bros Bites, and just let him, take care of a few meals or whatever the case is, versus me trying to get these groceries. I know that doesn't, maybe that doesn't make sense to a lot of other people or whatnot, but I don't know, I guess I just felt led to just go ahead and just hit him up, because I saw they were trying to overcharge me with the grocery delivery thing, and I was just like, let me just hit my boy up, you know what I'm saying, get some meals or whatever, and leave it at that for this week or whatever. So that's what I did. So shout out to Bros Bites, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's what's going on with that. I just wanted to shout out my boy. So let's get into this chit chat, man. Let's get into this chit chat. Expansion without obedience. So, okay, so the interesting thing this morning is I was a little bit, distracted. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit distracted. I'm still looking for venues and whatnot, so I was kind of keeping my eyes open. Like when I woke up this morning, I woke up kind of early, but I didn't write down the time, so my apologies for that. But I did look up the verses though, but I didn't write down the time, so I can't remember in this moment. But anywho, so I was up for a little while before my alarm went off, and then after that, I just kind of was looking into venues and trying to see like some options and whatnot. And so eventually I finally got focused to do what I was supposed to be doing, right? And started to do my prayer meditation with the Soul Space app, y'all already know. And it was good. It was good. But eventually I was thinking about, I guess when I got done, maybe, I'm not sure. But I was thinking about the whole idea of expansion. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm looking at venues or what, all I know is the word expansion was coming in my mind. And then, that phrase everybody says, oh, expand my territory, and everything like that. So that came into my mind this morning. And so, as I looked that up, one of the first things I came across was the account with Jabez, that is featured in the Bible. And I'm going to share a little bit of that momentarily. But even with that, I still was, I was still thinking about a lot of different things, to be honest. And I guess ultimately it made me think about, well, okay, so eventually, after I, settled on the idea of looking into expansion and everything like that, when I was getting ready to write things down, that's when the word obedience came into my mind. And once I looked up verses about that, it started to make me think about like how we often, it's like we want the expansion, we want the blessings, we want all the great things, right? But then at the same time, we don't want to be obedient. We don't want to do what God tells us to do. And I mean, it's very clear in the word about like how you can get these blessings, and that God wants us to have all the blessings and wants us to experience the great things in life and all that. However, we got to be obedient to what he says and tells us to do. Like I said, it was a beautiful thing for me yesterday to be talking to Miss Giselle and sharing about my testimony and the book and all these different things. I mean, this is like, I truly feel like I'm living my dream these days, right? But even in the midst of that, even with me sharing my testimony, I had to be honest about the fact that, man, I was not on the right path a few years ago. I was headed in a totally different direction. Like, who knows where I would even be. If I had kept down that path and just kept doing what I wanted to do, or kept, or not being obedient to the word of God. And so, I mean, and for me, like I say all the time, a lot of that, it just, a lot of things and my goals and dreams and everything like that was hanging on the balance of that. Again, like I say, my son is a huge indicator for me. It's like it blows my mind every time I look at him and see him and all the different things, to know that his life was waiting on me. I think I was talking about that yesterday, right? So yeah, and I know things happen in its time and when it's supposed to. So that's another thing as well. However, I still had to make choices and decisions to get here. I still had to, be obedient to what God was saying to me during the cultivation period, because again, yeah, I could have just leaned in another direction. I could have just did whatever I wanted to do. And I mean, yeah, I got that free will just like we all do. But at the end of the day, again, where would I be? All the people that are saying that they are inspired and encouraged by me and the things that I'm doing right now and everything, it's like, would y'all even know me? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, all the things that I know that Ms. Giselle quoted me yesterday when I said that I'm basking in basically the things that I was praying and hoping and dreaming about during that time. But still, I mean, like I said, I just don't know. I don't know personally where I would be. And I mean, I would like to think that things would still be good, but who knows, man? Who knows? And so that's the thing. At the end of the day, I guess just shedding some light this morning on this idea of, hey, if you truly want the expansion, if you truly want, for God to expand your territory, then you got to be obedient. You need to be obedient to him and what the word says. So let's take a look at the word. Let's take a look at it. So 1 Chronicles 4:10, it says, Jabez called upon the God of Israel, saying, Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my border, and that your hand might be with me, and that you would keep me from harm, so that it might not bring me pain. And God granted what he asked. Now, the word granted makes me think about genies or something like that. But aside from that, it made me wonder, like, okay, well, so Jabez just called on God and, asked God to do something, and he did it. Like, that sounds good. It sounds like what we want, right? It sounds like we want to just be like, oh, God, do this, oh, God, do that, and then that's it, right? But here's one thing that I guess if you only read that verse, then you're going to miss it. You got to go back to verse 9 real quick. And verse 9 starts with this right here. It says, Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. I'm going to stop right there. Honestly, we could go deeper about Jabez. Maybe there's more to learn about Jabez, right? Why was he more honorable than his brothers? What was his brothers doing? There's a lot of questions that I guess need to be answered regarding that. And I mean, we can all go deeper about that, I guess, on our own. But regardless, I mean, the main thing here is that Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. That's the main point that it says there. It doesn't really even reiterate, or it doesn't really go deeper about that. That's what it says. And so, this is why God answered his prayer, right? This is why God, granted what he asked, because at the end of the day, he was more honorable, than his brothers. So, I mean, we too have to be honorable, we have to, again, be obedient and everything like that. I mean, there's some verses in the Go Deeper section, just gets to continue to think about this. But, I guess as we reflect on the side of like being obedient, I started coming across these verses here. So 1 John 5:3, it says, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome." Again, I know we hear all the time, like, oh, people don't want to do what the Bible says do. People feel like the 10 Commandments is too many, or, and then when you get into the deeper explained laws and whatnot, that's like, oh, it's too much. But, I mean, when you really, really sit there and think about, like, the things that God is asking of us, like, can you really think to yourself, like, oh, it may be difficult because it may be something you want to do, but, at the end of the day, God has our best interests at heart. He has plans for, good and not evil, life and not death, and all those different things. And so, I did come across a verse this morning. I didn't write it down, but it did say, all sins don't lead to death, because there are some sins that don't necessarily lead to death, but still, like, that doesn't, again, mean you should just be going out here doing these things. And a lot of this stuff was in place. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that when it comes to all the laws that was like written and, going deeper into don't do this, don't do that, these things were for a reason, right? These things were for a reason. Now, I mean, again, we can see that some of them do, straight up have to do with life and death, some of them just have to do with evil and whatnot. Because again, why would God have to specifically say, do not mate with animals? If that wasn't a thing, if that evil deed wasn't something that was being done, like why would he have to point that out? And maybe to some people that's not evil, right? Maybe, but then you have to question your morals and values at that point if that's what you're thinking. And so that goes with a lot of different things, but I mean, that's just some examples here of, at the end of the day, keeping God's commandments and understanding that his commandments are not burdensome. Rather that they keep burdens from us when you really think about them at the end of the day. It's like the word says, his yoke is easy compared to the yoke of sin. And again, like, how can I say? Now, I haven't really been someone that's like, I guess attached to drugs or anything like that. But anybody that you see come out of it, because that's the thing. Like, sometimes people get caught up in that type of life and caught up in those things, and then they don't get out. But the ones that have come out, they say that, hey, maybe at that moment I enjoyed X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, I saw that wasn't best for me. Like, it was deteriorating my body, and it's harmful to me, and all these different things. So again, it's just something to think about, y'all. It's something to think about. At the end of the day, Do you want to take on the yoke of sin, the burdens of sin, or do you want to uh, take on God's yoke? Which, yeah, there are commandments, yeah, there are things that we should do. However, at the end of the day, with our best interest in mind, these things were said. So, just something to think about. Something to think about. Now, this verse right here almost took me out this morning. Super funny and hilarious to me this morning when I read it. And I just was like, all right, Lord, well, we'll go ahead and speak to us on today. It says Luke 6:46. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I tell you? Woo! Oh man, like how many of us are doing that? Like I said yesterday, I'm thankful and grateful that I was able to, get to the place that I am now. Again, I'm not sitting here acting like I'm perfect or anything, but, I'm thankful that my decision wasn't the last decision, or that my choices wasn't the last choice, or the times when I failed wasn't the last time, because I've been granted this opportunity to, be on the other side and share my testimony now, right? But, there's some of us that, at some point you're going to just probably get caught up into these lifestyles of keep going over and over again. And you're like, oh Lord, bless me. Oh Lord, have mercy on me, or whatever the case is. And then you go back and do the things again. And so, yeah, man, I think that can fit many of us today. I mean, obviously it fit me at some point. I'm sitting here praying to God and like, oh Lord, I want this, I want that. And, I want the expansion without obedience. I don't want to be obedient to what you're saying, but I want all the blessing that you give. So, that's a good question on today. So maybe we should answer that. Why do we call him Lord, Lord, but do not do what he tells us to do? Now, Isaiah 1:19, it says, if you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. Well, there you go, y'all. There you go. I mean, we can see what it looks like to attempt to get the expansion without obedience. And that's another thing I thought about today. I mean, obviously, y'all know that I was sharing with you guys about, what the different people experienced at that festival the other weekend. And, some people believe that it's a straight up, demonic sacrifice that took place. And everything like that for that artist to get the, I guess, where he is. And it's an ongoing, I mean, people call it conspiracy, but hey, I don't know, just say there's a lot of things questionable. And when you really think about that process, right, and when you think about, okay, there's these artists that are out here and they got all this fame, all this money, all this stuff, but you see the content they create, you see the things that they say, you see the things that they do, and it's all weird and it's all like demonic and some people just say satanic, and but on the flip side, it's like, people, again, you think it's conspiracy, but then at the same time you see a lot of stuff that lines up together, and so it's like, is it true, is it not true? Well, hey, here's something to think about. Jesus was tempted with the same things. When you look at the account of the temptation of Christ, which was in Luke 4:1-13, the devil offered him all kinds of things as well. That power, that, glory and all those different things. Basically telling the lie that, hey, I can give you all these things, X, Y, and Z. And perhaps he could give you things for a season, but that doesn't mean you're going to get the everlasting life, right? The everlasting glory that you could get from God. And so, I guess at the end of the day, the choice is yours. Obviously, whose side you want to be on. Do you want to be on the side of the father of lies? Or do you want to be on the side of the father that has access to it all? Yeah, we can just ask and receive, but we got to be honorable, right? I believe, according to what was written and read on today, to be granted what we're asked. And so, yeah, these are the choices. These are the choices that we are faced with every day. And you know, when it comes to this idea or this topic of expansion without obedience, I think me personally, I'd rather be obedient and then let God expand my territory and in His way, the way He wants to, and everything like that. So that's just for me, hey. But for y'all today, I mean, that's the juice. Y'all can think about that and let that marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. Check out the Go Deeper section as well, and yeah, that's the juice. The Bible verse of today is 1 Samuel 2:2. It says, "There is none holy as the Lord. For there is none besides thee, neither is there any rock like God." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Just a reminder, I know that today is not Thursday, but we have a guest that is featured on the show on Friday. Her name is Mandy Nuttall. You guys are going to see some ads about that. She is the author of a book called The Birthday Suit Book. I'll share more about it tomorrow, if the Lord's will, before or after the show for tomorrow. But I just wanted to mention her name on today and whatnot. So be on the lookout for her posts and everything like that. And you can check out her website in the meantime. But until then, y'all, I will talk to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Hello, charmers. Visit ttcboutique.com for the latest in fashion and accessories. Twice the charm, the source of women clothing.